Today's guest is the amazing Elisa Bougearts, who is a launch manager and confidence coach. She helps coaches plan and execute their program launches so they can focus on spreading their genius. She has a combined 16 years of project management and coaching experience that she uses to get her clients ready to launch. She takes you from overwhelmed to organized. Elisa, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. Okay, so my mission is to help entrepreneurs with their legacy life, which is aligning your divine message to your purpose-driven goals so you can reach millions and achieve financial freedom. Tell us a bit about your background and what the mission is of your business.
Yeah, so as you said, have this long corporate career being a project manager. And even though I'm this super organized planner person and, sort of project manage like everything in my life, I even found it difficult when I first launched my own program for the first time. And when I actually did it, to me, it was like this sort of giant, like kind of puzzle with all these pieces. And it took me a while to kind of like figure out how I wanted to put it together. And so, like, I messed up myself. I made mistakes. I forgot things. And, some people got no emails and some of the wrong people got the other emails, things like that. And all I knew was that at the end of it, I didn't make any money. And so ever since then, I've become this master at launching. And I really just like honed in on my project management skills to help. And now I want to help coaches who maybe aren't as organized as me. Like you're saying, like we want people to go out and live their legacy and put it out into the world. And I find that so many of us we're like ideas people, right? Or just want to or just want to coach and don't want to do all the nitty gritty business stuff. And that can really hold us back. And I think that sometimes when we think like, oh, I want to launch my program, like there's so much stuff to do. I am so overwhelmed that it just doesn't happen, or it happens like, it could take like a year or something when really it could probably just take a few months. So I'm all about like systems and processes and documentation. And I use my coaching skills and my project management skills along with my organizational skills and even my mindfulness tools. Because I used to, being a coach myself, I coached on self-confidence. And I combine all those to help coaches launch their programs because that's what we're all about. We want to help people to get their things out there and, no more being overwhelmed and not, yeah, putting that program out there and helping people as we want to.
Yeah, I love that. And as somebody who's done many, many launches, program and product launches, I know the number of moving parts, the complexity, the how simple it is to forget something. And yeah, it's a lot of work and there's a lot of risk involved. So I love that you come on in and help somebody. Describe that a little bit. Let's say I come to you and I'm like, oh, I have this great program. I'd like to have some help launching. What does that look like? And what are you finding are the best price points?
Or their programs.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So what I use is like with my superpowers, I help them put the plan together. So I sort of expect them when they come to me that they know who they are, who they serve, and what their program is, and they're ready to really to like get it out. So I have this like giant template that it's actually just in Google Sheets. So I
Mhm.
keep it simple, right? Because I know the tech can also be overwhelming. And I've like when I thought of everything to do with my launches, I've literally tasked out everything and I've grouped it. And we go through those and say, okay, we customize it for them because some people use joint venture partners. Some people are doing a 5-day challenge instead of a workshop or whatever it may be to bring people into their world. And we go through it task by task and actually put start and end dates to it. And so the whole idea of that is to be like, okay, this is what you're focusing on this week. These are the 5 tasks or 10 tasks that you and your team, or just you yourself, if you're a solopreneur, need to work on, and trust the process and know that the plan is there. Don't get overwhelmed by everything else. This is what we focus on. And then, at the end of the week, like, did we do it all? Yes, tick it off, feels great. Move on to the next week. And that's kind of what that plan looks like. And then also there's other tabs that talk about like tracking things, if you're getting speaking gigs or doing gift giveaways or what have you. And also the keys to success. Yeah, what kind of revenue do they want to make? What is their price point of their program? Yeah, all the kinds of different sort of things like targets that they want to kind of
All
have
right.
for
So
their
they kind of
program
come
launch.
in with already what they want to do. You're helping them map it out and then holding them accountable on the benchmark date so that it successfully launches on their planned date, let's say.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, and really just help them stay focused and meet with them like a couple of times a week too, just to check in. Really sort of like an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, what kind of success measurements or metrics are you working with them to help guide them to make sure that, you have indicators of this is going to be successful or uh-oh or yay, we're doing really good here.
Yeah, lots of different things really, but some of them could be like show up rates or even like your rate. Like say a strategy could be you have a lead magnet and you bring people in through that, and through that you promote your say workshop, and then your workshop, to people showing up. So you kind of can look at those numbers and be like, are people that are coming to my landing page for my lead magnet, are they actually getting the lead magnet? What's the thing there? So maybe if that conversion rate's kind of low, you could tweak something on your landing page or maybe update your lead magnet. How many people are actually coming into your workshop? How many people are showing up as well? Like I worked with one coach and they were they use something called video ask. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, where it's like you can do a video
Mhm.
and you can send them directly to it, and you can ask the participants something like whatever you want to know, and the participants can respond to you via video or text, or I think maybe email. I'm not sure what the other one is, and then you can actually respond to them as well, so you can kind of go back and forth. And they didn't I don't think I think they forgot to do the video ask, and then they put it in, and then they only allowed participants to respond with a video as opposed to just like a little text message. And they noticed that that was kind of impacting their conversion of people showing up. And so they looked at it and was like, oh, that's like a little tweak that I could make. Let's let them reply with text message, because the more you kind of interact with somebody, the more likely they might want to come to your workshop. And so they went from 10% to 45% show up rate. So little things like that, we can just kind of look at those little numbers and see kind of, yeah, maybe not what's not working, and make little tweaks to see all the numbers increase.
Very cool. Now,
Yeah.
do you help them get people to the event, or that's on them and you have recommendations on maybe strategies that work well?
Yes, yeah, I give them recommendations and say that they do want to do it through speaking. I have like a list of all the places that I look for speaking gigs myself that I can share with them.
Mhm.
And I more, make sure that every week they're looking for speaking gigs, like how many did you look for this week, or how many do you have booked in? How, if you're going to do joint venture partners, are you going to a networking event each week to meet more people? And have you reached out and followed up with people to, have the conversations to see if they can promote you? Things like that. Yeah. So I kind of keep them more on track, but of course I'm happy to help them and give them the information that I use myself to look for those things. But yeah, I was thinking about like when I was doing this, I'm like, do I want to help people with absolutely everything? Like even doing the tech and like creating their landing page for them. And I just thought, that might be kind of impossible because there are so many different technologies out there. There are probably 100 different landing page creator sites. I'm like, there's no way I could learn all of that. So yeah, so I'm just more, but also like that can be part of what the plan is. Like, oh, hey, I don't have an email marketing system yet. Okay, well, what we put in the plan is to research it. Like, here are some recommendations. Go see how much things cost and what they offer, and then make a decision. Sign up. That's kind of like part of the plan, and then also give yourself time to do the training materials so you know how to use it. That's all the things you can include in your plan.
So it sounds like a lot of, I'll say almost one-on-one work. How many clients do you maybe go through for a year?
Myself,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I start the first sort of product that I offer is the plan itself, because I think
Mhm.
some people maybe just sort of want that organization, and that's usually actually what I promote myself in my own workshops. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, actually, how many? That's a good point. So I do like weekly workshops. So I probably have like 5 to 10 people do that program, and then not everybody wants to work with me on a weekly basis to actually help them execute it. So that number is lower. Some people are very happy just to take the plan and they're like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do when, like perfect. And other people kind of want a little bit more help of going through everything bit by bit.
Very cool. And so becoming I'll call it a launch manager, right? That's a very specific, and I love that you've done this niche that you selected, given, productivity, creation of Google Sheets, and that could be applied to almost anything. What attracted you to the launch cycle?
Well, I think that I enjoyed it myself in doing it. Once I kind of like saw that, like I was saying, all those puzzle pieces and was able to sort of put it together, I actually really enjoy launching, and which is actually kind of why I went to like the business strategy of doing workshops every month, because it was like, this is fun. Like this is like a good machine. Like I really like enjoyed it. And I saw that gap. I saw that in some people that, we did a program together, a 3-month program. And so we're told exactly what to do. I did it as we are going through the program, and afterwards, did whatever I was supposed to do. And some of the people I'm still in touch with, it's 6 months later and they haven't done it yet. And, we started the program at the same time. And so I just kind of thought of that. I was like, well, why did I do it? And they haven't, what is that gap that I could maybe help to fill? And I think that I'm just so much of a doer planner person that it's really quite easy to me and I find it fun. And I just thought, well, if I find it fun, like Kimberly Crow says, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. And yeah, so that's just kind of what drew me to it, that I find it easy and enjoyable and know that some people need some help with it. And I'd love to help. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I love how you, I'll say, fell into it. And it's interesting. When
Mhm.
I started my company back in 1985, I started a software company when I was 19. And a professor pulled me aside. I'm in college, about to graduate, and he says, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm going to, I guess, go to Toronto, and I'm going to become a computer programmer." And he said, "Oh, no, no, you're a leader, you're dynamic, you're outgoing, you're an entrepreneur." And I was like, "Okay." I mean, I had no idea what he was talking about. What is an entrepreneur? And so I come back the next day after noodling on this, like, "Oh my God, am I not getting a job? What's happening here?" And I
Right.
said, "What's an entrepreneur?" And he said, it's super simple. You find a need and you fill the gap. And that's exactly what you saw and what you did. And so that's when in the beginning, that's what I did as well and continue to do. And it's why I've lasted almost 40 years, is find a need, fill the gap, because it evolves so much. Again, because I started in technology, I started selling computers. Well, that went by the dodo bird. Then I started selling software. Then I started, everything in this tumultuous area of technology is constantly evolving so rapidly. I have to stay as a change agent. What I love about the protocol that you've taken on, and this one isolated piece, is it's key to what they're doing, and yet it seems almost sometimes neglected. "Oh, I know, I'm just going to do a product launch. So and so did that and they made, 100 grand. Doesn't that sound like fun?" Until you get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And so I'm very glad that somebody exists like yourself that's able to say, "Look, this is my specialty. I will walk you through it. I'll hold your hand. We can take it further if you'd like, and get accountability on this." It's such a needed and a wanted.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, and I love that. Yeah, like you said, I sort of fell into it. And actually it was my business coach who was really encouraging me for a while. And I was resistant to it because it's what I did in corporate. And I was like, like,
Oh.
no, like that's the corporate thing. I don't want to do that. Like, no, the project management life, like that's behind me. Um, but then yeah, I just sort of noticed, and also I noticed sort of my fellow coaches struggling with it. And I was like, oh, I could help you with that. I'm actually, maybe if I just sort of like template this, like, I could share it. And yeah, yeah, it was funny how it took me a while. I really had to reframe it because it was like, in the corporate world. So I also worked in tech, in like software development. And so that was like, right, you have to follow this these methodologies, and it was kind of strict, and people had very like opinions of how it should be done, and it was always this whole thing, and like every company did their thing differently, and it was like, oh, it was like, oh, wait a second, no, this is my process. I get to do that for myself, and I'm not working, in the software industry now. I get to work with coaches who are like the people that I love the most, and that's one thing that I really noticed when moving out of corporate and doing this full time is this like, I just love the people I'm surrounded by all the time. It brings me so much joy. And I was like, wow, why don't I work with them?
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I had the software company, we were working with Fortune 100, Fortune 500, governments, banks, the lottery corporation, all of these big Walmart, all of these big names. And it was the one day too that I realized, you know what? I need to be serving the small business because they're the catalysts, they're the pivoters, they're the ones that are going to allow this economy in particular to be able to shift towards a way that can be financially sustainable for the majority of people. Otherwise, we have all the top enders. Our planet becomes like a network marketing pyramid. There's the rich and there's the poor, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the dichotomy of what's occurring. So yes, I love that you moved into there. So how can somebody get in touch with you to really take a look at a deeper dive into what you can do for them?
Well, I have a gift I'd love to offer if you
Absolutely.
guys offer gifts. Actually,
Yes. I
sorry,
love
I'm a little
gifts.
bit unprepared. Let me just get the website for it. Yeah, so it's called Launch Mastery, and it's five strategies or sort of changing tactics that every coach needs with launching their program. And that can be found at, oh, I have lost the link. It's Inspiration by Elisa, that's ELISA, thrivecart.com/gift.
All right. Okay, good. Well, everybody go and grab that and make sure that you take advantage, because anything that will guide you through this process and give you the moving parts and the understanding that there's a lot going on with this strategy to launch a product or program. Again, it's been a pleasure having you today, Lisa, and I look forward to finding out more.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun to chat with you.